Chapter 2: The 4 Great Essentials to Business Success. The foundation of success in the business world is found in the proper combination of enterprise, ability, self-confidence, and concentration. True, there is a superstructure. There is a lower story and an upper story, and several other stories intervening, all of which we must consider in their proper places. But the foundation must be considered first, and in so doing, our object will be to present the psychological side of all these factors and prove that the psychological side is not only the principal side, but that a thorough understanding of the psychological side will make success just as certain as the rising of the sun. When we speak of enterprise, the average mind naturally thinks of hustle, push, more work, and eternally being at it. But we shall find that this term also involves something else, the understanding of which will be of incalculable value to everybody in the business world. To adopt the rule of more work is necessary, as nothing is accomplished without much work, but simply to resolve to work is not everything in work. There is an art of working. There is constructive enterprise and destructive enterprise. There is work that promotes your objects, and there is work that simply wastes time and energy. In fact, misdirected work is so common that it is met by nearly everybody every hour. If some method, therefore, could be found that would enable every intelligent person to direct his work properly at all times, one of the greatest secrets of success would have been revealed. To strike the nail on the head every time is the purpose of work, but in too many instances, the man with the hammer crushes his own thumb. To define work, we may say that it is physical or mental action applied through certain channels for the purpose of producing certain intended results. The work itself is force or energy practically applied, but the results do not depend altogether upon how much energy is employed. Results also depend upon the way the energy is employed. However, that something directs all energy as work is not to be found in the muscles, nor in the senses, nor even in the ordinary exterior intellect. This something belongs to the very finest elements of the mind, and the study of these things constitutes one of the principal fields of the new psychology. There is, therefore, a psychological side to work, and no work can be done properly without a knowledge of this side. It is a well-known fact that your mental attitude toward your work does just as much for success or failure as the work itself, and also that your states of mind while at work determine largely how much energy you will be able to give to your work. For this reason, we realize the importance of the psychological side. To enter into details and present the mental laws involved in this subject will not be necessary. However, but it will be necessary to say that no one can afford to be ignorant of the psychological side of work, because no matter how hard he may work or how much energy he may possess, as long as he does not understand the mental laws involved, most of his efforts will be misdirected. The subject, therefore, becomes important and will be given proper attention in the proper place. Passing to the study of ability, we find a theme as large as life itself and containing possibilities too large to be measured. It has been well said that the man with brains can do anything he may set out to do, and can secure practically anything he may wish for. But though this is a great truth, it offers no consolation to those who are not in possession of remarkable brains. These people, however, need not be discouraged, because brains can be developed. Accordingly, there is no excuse anymore for having a small mind, or for being deficient in ability or capacity along any line. These things can all be developed to almost any degree desired, and exceptional improvements secured in a short time. We naturally conclude, therefore, that before every mind lies a path of unlimited possibilities. The average person, however, has not given much attention to the increase of his ability. He has labored under the conviction that no increase was possible and has depended upon the application of what ability he possessed through the channel of hard work. Here, then, is a new field for men and women who desire progress in the world of achievement. To carry out this idea, we must not rush headlong with the crowd, expecting to arrive through the lucky application of our present capacity. On the contrary, we must give as much attention to the increase of our ability as to the practical use of that ability. At first sight, however, it may seem that success will be interfered with by such a method, as the average person thinks that he needs all of his time for practical work, and what ability he has must be put into that work. For this reason, he believes that he has neither the time nor the opportunity, but the fact is that every man who wants to can find the necessary time for improvement. That this is a fact will be evident when we realize that the mind will not be tired out after a day's work when we learn to work in the right mental attitude, and also that development will be continuous, even while we are at work, provided we work through right mental actions. Every man, whether he has been in business for many years or is just beginning, should make it a point to give a certain amount of time and attention every day to the further development of those faculties that are directly involved in his work. More brains must be his leading purpose and his constant desire. And where there is a will, there is a way. By adopting this method, he may not in the beginning be able to give his work as much attention as he planned, though in most instances he will be able to give it all the attention required. After a short time, however, he will begin to become a greater power in his field of action and will find himself able to do better work and more work in less time. In all efforts, quality should be sought first, though the average person sets out with his whole attention fixed upon quantity. And here we have one reason why so many people fail to accomplish anything of worth. After you have resolved to give a certain amount of time and attention to the further increase of your personal ability, impress your mind with the fact that the faculties or talents that you employ in your work can be developed indefinitely. Realize this fact so fully that you feel it at all times. To feel inwardly that your ability can be enlarged indefinitely will of itself produce an increase of capacity every moment. And when you apply in conjunction a good system of practical methods, the results will be steady and wholly satisfactory. In this connection, it is absolutely necessary to break away from the old habit of being absolute slave to your business. You must always rule your work, and not permit yourself to be ruled by your work under any circumstances. To develop the mind must not only be free from all conditions and circumstances, but must be the master of them all. And in carrying out this principle, we shall find it necessary to possess an abundance of self-confidence, the third essential to real success. We may have more brains than we can use, but if we have no faith in ourselves, we shall accomplish but little. That this is true, we all know, because we are all acquainted with fine minds who do not believe in themselves and who therefore undertake nothing. Many of these could startle the world if they believed that they could. Though where faith and self-confidence are lacking, there is no incentive whatever to make any definite attempt along any definite line. Where faith is abundant, a little ability will go a long way, and some of the most successful men in the world owe their great results to self-confidence, as their ability is in many instances below the average. The great power of self-confidence lies in the fact that when you believe you can do certain things, all the power of your being accumulates in those faculties through which the work is to be done. When you thoroughly believe that you can accumulate wealth, you draw all the energy of your system into that part of the brain through which the financial faculties function. When you believe with all your mind that you can write a great work of fiction, all your literary faculties will become alive with energy, coming in from all parts of mind and personality. The same is true along any line where your self-confidence and your faith in yourself has become very strong. This is why faith is so remarkable, and why self-confidence is indispensable. True, if you have no ability for the work which you believe you can do, there will be no results for the time being. Energy must have something to work with, even though that something may be small. But even though it should be small at first, that faculty will grow with great rapidity when all the forces of your being begin to accumulate there. Therefore, to believe that you can do what you have no ability for will be useless. Self-confidence alone cannot produce results, but when you know that you have some ability in a certain direction, and everybody has ability in one or more directions, Give this ability all the self-confidence you can possibly arouse. Proceed with the full use of that faculty and believe that you can accomplish anything with it. The results will be remarkable. Through such a faith and through such an application, this faculty will grow so rapidly that ere long you will be able to do far more than you first expected. The law is that when we believe we can do certain things, all the creative forces in our system will rush into the faculty required to do the things we have planned. This added power will constantly increase the capacity of that faculty so that in the course of time, it will possess remarkable ability. In the average person, the various creative forces of his system are scattered all through the system and are mostly thrown away through lack of use. But if all these energies could be gathered in one place in the mind, it is evident that far more could be accomplished, and that this is what happens when self-confidence is strong. The nature of faith and self-confidence is to draw everything along with it into those faculties that are being used for the work at hand. Accordingly, self-confidence converts enemies into friends and uses obstacles as stepping stones. However, to develop faith and self-confidence, we must understand the laws of mind and soul, and that involves the study of psychology. The fourth great essential is that of concentration, and the purpose of concentration is to hold attention upon the work at hand as long as may be required. There are few minds that can think of one thing and continue to think of one thing for hours and feel no fatigue, but the average mind can keep his attention upon one subject for a moment only, and when he does try to concentrate for some time, he becomes mentally exhausted. One reason for this is found in the belief that concentration necessarily involves hard mental work, and that we must force the mind to hold it in a concentrated attitude. This, however, is not the truth. When concentration is natural, no effort at all is required. And in natural concentration, you do not try to fix the attention, nor try to hold the mind in place. You simply become interested in your subject or your work. When you are deeply interested in something, you naturally concentrate upon that something without making any special effort to do so. And so long as your interest continues, your mind will give its whole attention in that direction. But here, the question is, how shall we become interested in such things that we care nothing about? For we may be called upon to do things we dislike, and the doing of those very things may be stepping stones to what we shall like. But we cannot do that work successfully unless our concentration is good. Thus, the problem is how to concentrate upon that which we dislike, or how to become interested in that in which we have no interest. To this problem, however, there is a simple solution. When we work with a purpose in view, we look beyond the mere work. We look upon the work as the path to the coveted goal, and in this light, our work means everything to us. Accordingly, we cannot help being deeply interested in it, knowing what we are to find at the end of the journey. When we work simply to make a living and do not use our work as a means to higher attainment, in addition to making a livelihood, we may find it difficult to be interested in it. But when we look upon our work as a means to great end, we shall find no difficulty whatever in becoming interested in every step of the way. We shall then enter our work with joy and be animated with the strong desire to do it in the very best way possible. When we proceed in this manner, our interest in our work will be constant, and accordingly, we will develop natural concentration. Ere long, concentration will become highly developed so that we can give our whole mind and all our creative forces to the one thing we are doing now, and for any length of time, without feeling the least mental weariness. This is a very simple method, a method that anybody can apply, and if applied faithfully, will develop concentration in any mind, even to a remarkable degree. When these four essentials have been secured or developed, the next important step is to attain resourcefulness, and this may, figuratively speaking, be called the first story of the superstructure. When we examine the average mind, we find it to be just so much, and no matter how long you may know that mind, you will never see any more in it. New things are not brought to the surface, and the mental resources are so limited that you can see them all by looking at the surface of the mind. A person with such a mind has no agreeable surprises in store for anybody. He is what he appears to be, and no more. Such a person, however, will never startle the world with great achievements, nor ever live a life satisfactory to himself unless he becomes familiar with the new psychology and applies its principles. To accomplish much, the mind must come into touch with the limitless source of ideas, thoughts, and experiences. In other words, we must find that place in consciousness where the elements of construction are stored away in boundless supply. And the resourceful mind has found this place. For this reason, the resourceful mind is never at its wit's end. It is never at a loss. It is never without a way. Such a mind simply opens itself to the thing needed, and it comes. We call such a mind resourceful, but we have not in the past known the secret. All great minds have this faculty naturally developed and use it unconsciously. That is, they use it without knowing its true nature and without knowing how to increase its power. We all know such people, and that resourcefulness is one of their strong qualities is common knowledge. But can we all attain the same? The answer is that we can, and the fact is that we must. In these days, when so many new things are appearing and so many new possibilities are being revealed, the mind must live very near to the limitless in order to take advantage of everything, as well as to continue in the front ranks. The art of developing the faculty of resourcefulness takes us deeper into psychology than almost any other study along this particular line, as it is the subconscious mind that must be dealt with. To awaken the great within is the one essential, that is, to expand consciousness so that it can take in at least a part of that immense mental field that lies back of ordinary waking consciousness. Psychologists all admit that the ordinary field of consciousness is but a fraction of the immense field of the subconscious, and though a few minds have succeeded in exploring this region to some extent, it is to the average mind a closed door. The limitations of most minds is due to the fact that the subconscious has not been explored and developed, while the remarkable resourcefulness we find among a number of the larger minds is caused directly by the awakening of some one or two phases of the great within. When the subconscious begins to act, new ideas become very numerous, and in many instances, new plans come in such great numbers that you do not really know which one to choose. Sometimes all of them are so good that it is next to impossible to say which one is best. In this experience, the mind must be well poised and must stand firmly between the outer and the inner, so as to know how to apply the external needs with the best adapted idea or plan from within. At times, minds in this state become so confused from their many ideas that they remain inactive for a time. To overcome this condition, we must develop a keen insight and also develop continuity so that we will finish whatever we undertake. However, it is from the great within that all genius, all inspiration, all truth, and all remarkable constructive power is evolved. Therefore, we cannot give the subject too much attention if we wish to become much and achieve much. In practical everyday life, we constantly come to places where we do not know what to do next, and accordingly suffer failure because we are not prepared for the emergency. But this could never have happened if the immense inner world had been awakened and we had been in possession of resourcefulness. In the awakening of the within, there are many steps, but the first one is to train the mind to look deeper than the surface, no matter what the thought or action may be. This practice will, in a very short time, begin to produce results, though when results come, the mind should be well poised and as clear as crystal in order that it may accept the best ideas as they appear. As in all other things, it is practice that makes perfect, and he who proceeds with a view of securing great results will certainly secure them. When we speak of these inner laws of the mind, the very practical man may think that the subject is too transcendental to be of any value in commercial life, but let no one fall into this error. We all know that building capacity, as well as all ideas of value, come from the deeper realms of mind and thought, And since everything follows definite laws, there must also be laws for bringing forth not only greater capacity and ability, but also as many new ideas, plans, methods, and principles as may be required to make the work of any mind highly successful. And as it is these laws with which business psychology is chiefly concerned, it is evident the man who studies and applies the principles of business psychology will place himself in the most advantageous position that can be found in the commercial world.